Okay, so now we're going to look at the rules of evidence. So the first rule is again validity. So does your evidence assess the elements and performance criteria in the particular unit of competency? And does your evidence cover the required knowledge and skills that's required in your assessment? And do you actually assess at the right ATQF level? So if you're teaching a Certificate 3 course, is it assessed at a Cert 3 level? So those are very important parts of validity of your evidence. The next one is sufficiency. So what that refers to is, have you got enough evidence to prove that that person has passed that particular unit of competency? So do you have enough sufficiency? They usually say that having 2 types of evidence for each unit, for example, a questionnaire and also an observation checklist, would be sufficient for each particular unit. The next one looks at currency. Okay, is your evidence current? Now, ASQA defines currency, which is really open up into much interpretation, but it says that it's the very recent past. So it just depends on what industry you work in. For example, in the hospitality industry, where things don't change that often, their currency might be from today's date 5 years prior to today's date as being current. If, for example, you work in the IT industry, there things change so rapidly, so does the knowledge, so does the required skills. So currency in the IT industry may only be from today's date and maybe 2 years prior to today's date. So it really does depend on the particular industry, and it will be more defined in your assessment guidelines. The last one that we have in the rules of evidence is called authenticity. So is the evidence that you have gathered from your candidate, is it really theirs? So obviously if you're doing a direct observation and seeing them firsthand, then yes, it is theirs. But if it's a third-party report that's been signed off by their supervisor, you might need to validate that piece of assessment, give the employer a call to check that they really do work there and they do have those knowledge and skills. So you need to validate your third-party reports. So that checks for authenticity. So here we've covered the rules of evidence, which is validity, sufficiency, currency, and authenticity.